Okay, so we are getting ready to head into a parking garage. Uh, and I want to show you some parking garage safety tips. First one up on pulling in. These tips are things that you need to do whenever you're in a parking garage. If it's an outside parking garage, an inside parking garage, it doesn't matter. Safety is of the utmost. And I don't think a lot of people think about some of these things I'm going to mention when they are in a parking garage. So let's head on over to the garage so that I can show you some of the things that you need to do. We are now entering the parking garage, and as you can see, it's starting to get a little dark. The first thing you want to do, if you have a sunroof in your vehicle, is open the roof. That's going to allow a certain amount of light to come into your vehicle so that you can see. You always want to make sure you have enough light coming in so that you can see, especially if it's at night inside of the parking garage. Now, the next thing you want to do is lower your window. Why am I lowering my window when I'm going through a parking garage? The reason why you want to lower your window is because you can hear. People like to race in parking garages. They really do. They like to race in parking garages. So you want to make sure you can hear. You want to make sure you can hear oncoming cars that are whipping around these circles that are in parking garages. You want to make sure that if you can hear them, then you can stop, you can slow, especially if you're going around a curve in a parking garage and you can't quite see what's around that corner. You want to make sure you can hear. So just by opening your window some, you don't really have to open it all the way down like I did. You can open it halfway. You can even crack it if it's really cold. Just make sure it's open enough so that you can hear it. Now, the next thing you want to do when you're pulling into a parking garage is always, if at all possible, back into your parking space. So we're going to back into this parking space. Now I am completely backed into my parking space. And as you can see, because I have my roof open, there's a lot more light within the vehicle, okay? I also have my window still open so that I can hear what's going on outside. More vehicles approaching in case I need to pull forward and back in again or anything like that. One reason why you want to always back into your parking space is because when leaving, number one, it's much easier to get out because some of these parking garages are very small from side to side. And when you're backing out, that means you got to back out and pull forward and back out and pull forward. Sometimes you can stop traffic by doing that because there are other cars coming into the garage that want to get by you. Sometimes you have larger vehicles parked on the opposite side of you or facing you or behind you, I should say. You have larger vehicles that may be sticking out. Maybe somebody didn't park right. And it's going to prohibit you from getting out of your space quick and easy. The next reason why you want to make sure you back in, if you need to get out in a hurry. Now, getting out in a hurry doesn't always mean that there's trouble. But there could be. And if there is trouble, you want to make sure that you can just pull on out and keep going. You want to make sure that you can get in your car. When coming back to your car, you should always have your keys in hand. And if you have a remote start, it's sometimes advisable to remote start it before you get there so that you can hop in that vehicle and keep it moving if you need to. Okay. Now you might be in a hurry because maybe you're just late. Okay. Every time you're in a hurry doesn't mean something bad is happening. You could just be simply running late that day and like, okay, I need to get home. I need to do this. I need to do that. Let me hurry up. And it's just simply easier. Also, if you are backing into the space like you should be, and sometimes we have to get out and see how far we back. I know we have these backup cameras, but sometimes we're just not sure. We're far enough back. We don't want to hit the wall. We don't want to go over if it's just a rail. Something else you can do if you park near a vehicle that is similar size of yours, such as like this, a vehicle like this. Now, I'm in a pretty big vehicle right now, and that's a pretty big vehicle. And I'm parked right next to it. Now, if I am coming into the parking garage and I see that there's an available space, there's a huge vehicle beside me, I can look to first see if that vehicle is parked correctly and if they're in their space. And if they are, when I am backing my vehicle back into my space, I can use their door as a guide against my door. And if I just simply align my door up with their door, that's another way to find out if you're going to be perfectly in your spot without getting back with the back and forth motion of looking to see if I'm far back, getting back in, pulling back a little further. That will make it much easier when you're backing into a space, because most big vehicles back in. It's just easier to get out, and actually it's easier to park that way. Now, next thing you need to do, always push in your side mirrors like that. Make sure they're pushed in. You never want to leave them out like that. When you leave your mirrors out like that, you run the risk of somebody else's door bumping into them. Sometimes the spaces are really, really tight. And even if the door doesn't bump them, when they get out, sometimes people have bags and big purses and all kind of things, babies in their arms, and they'll bump up against them. And you wonder when you get out, how did I get this little nick on the side of my mirror? And be sure, even if you don't have automatic mirrors, get out, push yours in, walk around to the passenger side and push that mirror in too. It takes only a couple of seconds. So you want to be safe. You want your vehicle to be safe. So make sure that you always push those mirrors in. Now take a look at this. Always flash your headlights at least twice before you pull out of your parking space. What that's going to do, if somebody's coming from that way or from down there, you will be able to alert them that you're getting ready to pull out, and that will stop you from pulling out into them or from them running into you. They'll see flashing lights and they'll slow their vehicle down so that they can continue to move out of their space safely, and you can continue to move out of your parking space safely as well. And it's always wise to have your parking ticket and your parking payment method in hand before you pull off. You don't want to get to the gate and fumble and can't find the ticket. Number one, that's going to take up time. And if you have a line behind you, that can irritate people. Sometimes people leave like, why are they so irritated? Well, you're sitting at this thing, they're trying to get out, and you don't know if they're in a hurry, okay? So you want to have your ticket ready and your payment method ready. Another reason why you want to have that ready is because when you get up there, you become vulnerable, okay? Especially if you are in a parking garage and it's nighttime. People can walk up to you while you're sitting there, because until you've made your payment, the thing that goes up and down, whatever you call it, I don't even know what you call it, but whatever you call it, that thing that goes up and down is not going up until you've deposited some money in there. Whether it's with a credit card or debit card or cash, it doesn't matter. It's not going up. So that means you leave yourself vulnerable for somebody to walk up to you because you have to open up your window in order to pay. All right. So you don't want anyone to approach your vehicle, whether it's from the driver's side or the passenger side. And while you are there, always look around. Pay attention to your surroundings, check your mirrors, make sure that no one is walking up on you. You have to stay alert. You have to be aware in all of these situations. And another tip, if at all possible, I know it's not always possible, but if at all possible, try to always make sure that when you go home for the day, or at any time of the day, keep at least a half a tank of gas. Keep at least a half a tank of gas. You never know when there's going to be an emergency or anything of that nature. So make sure you keep a half a tank of gas so that if you need to go, you can get up and go. If you are new to the channel, welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you so much for coming and hanging out with me today in this garage. I really do appreciate each and every one of you. Take a second and subscribe to the channel. Let's get to 300,000 subscribers together. Returning subscribers, thank you so much. I appreciate you all coming back, hanging out with me again. And channel members, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. I'm Pam, and this is my POV.